Alright, so let's go straight into this video, and in the video today what we're going to be looking at is how you can find your own good selling niches. Now I'm aware that I have a video like this already on my channel, however I wanted to make this one a bit more step by step and a bit clearer, and in this one we're going to be including some free software that we can use to help us niche down, because what I've been finding lately with people messaging me is that they're finding these niches, or they're going after the niches that people are recommending in their YouTube videos, but what they're not doing is niching down. So niching down is something that's very important for us to stand out, and it's going to help us make more sales, especially when it comes to low content books. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we can find these niches and then how we can niche down using some free software to find these sub niches that make more sales. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to take a quick look inside my ads account here where I've been running ads to a few books. And if you've been following my last few videos, you'll see that I've been running ads to around 4 books now, as I'm looking to start getting into ads and earning some more money that way. But let's just take a quick look inside my account here. Now, this isn't a tutorial on how to create ads and make money with ads, because I'm not at that point myself yet. However, what I do want to share is my entire journey on Amazon. And I think there's a lot of people, like I said in my last video, that actually want to do this same route where they've started making some money without investing too much money. And then from there, they want to put that money back into Amazon ads and make even more money. So in my account here, what we can see is that I've spent $47 and I've had $206 worth of sales. Now it is to be made absolutely clear that this is not $206 of profit, and it's not even $206 minus $47. So I've generated $206 worth of sales from these books, and I've spent $47 on it. Now to work out the profit on that, you'll have to take a look more in detail with the ACOS here. Now, for the most part, anything under 20, I think it's 23% is going to be in profit. And this ACOS number here is across all of the ads that I've been running, okay? So again, this is not a tutorial. I'm not here to tell you the exact profit that I'm making on these books, but I just wanted to share some of these results with you, because I do think that in the future, ads are going to be a huge part of our business. And if you can start testing ads on a very low budget like I'm doing, then I think that's even better. And if you can start testing ads on some of your books that are having success organically on Amazon, then I think you'll be paving the way for a more profitable future with publishing. So let's take a look at these 4 books here. Now the first one I started this campaign in 2020, but I didn't actually activate it and start pushing ads to it until I think it was around April 8th or April 10th, just like these other 3 books here. And as you can see, for this month of April, so I'm on the 25th of April at the time of recording this, I've spent $22 on this. I've had 7 sales, and that's generated $104 worth of sales. Again, that's not profit, and that has an ACOS of 21%. So this book is definitely in profit. I can't tell you how much that is at the moment, but for now, I'm just happy that I know this one is in profit. And the same with this second book here, which is more of it is a middle content book, I guess I'd call it. So it's not a low content book. It's definitely not over 10,000 words. And it's one that I've made quite recently as well. And it doesn't have any reviews, which is incredibly promising for people that are looking to send ads to new books, which is something that I've always recommended against doing, because to me, it makes sense to run ads to books that have proven to be doing well without ads on them. Okay, so this one has no ads. This one has no reviews, and it has only just been uploaded about a month or 2 ago. So I spent $18, I've had 10 sales, and we're coming back with $94 of sales here. Again, that's not profit, but the ACOS is 19%, which again is in profit. Can't tell you how much, but that's still very promising. And on these next 2 campaigns, these seem to be not doing very well at all now. So I think in the previous video where I showed these ones off, they both had 1 sale at the time as well, and they still have 1 sale on them, but I've been spending $3 on the first one here and $3 on the second one here, and the ACOS is 56% on this first one and 336% on the next one. Now logic would tell me to stop running ads to these books, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them maybe a couple more weeks and just see if they gain any more traction with ads. But for now, it doesn't look like they're going to be going anywhere. So logic would tell us here that we can carry on running these first 2 ads because they seem to be successful in terms of the ACOS and profit, but these next 2 not doing so well. So I'm going to look to cut them off very soon. And I think that's what, if you're going to be getting into ads at any point, you're going to be doing a lot of this, where you'll have a lot of ads out there, and some of them will work and some of them won't, and the ones that don't work you just cut off and stop losing money with. So had these been breaking even, I would have been happy, but I think we're going to get to the point where they're just going to be losing me money, and that's not going to serve me any purpose in terms of actually making profit overall. So I will look to cancel these very soon. Okay, so that's just a very personal look at my ads, and I think a lot of people, like I said before, are quite interested in taking this same route. The next step of your business should be probably to start running ads, or at least testing ads. I would recommend, if you've been doing what I've been doing and starting with pretty much no budget or low budget, I would take a look. If you're having some organic sales, I would take a look at spending maybe $1 or $2 per day on these books, the ones that are actually selling for you organically, and just see how they perform with ads. And don't run your cost up of ads too much. As you can see, $47 over 1 month is really not much money, and it's giving me a good idea of which of these 4 books I can keep running ads for. So the first 2 look good, second 2 not so much. Okay, so for those of you interested, the first book here is a much higher content book. It's over 10,000 words. And the second one is a sort of middle ground book, which has less than 5,000 words, I think it is, but I wouldn't consider it a low content book. And this one here is actually a word search, and this is, I guess you would consider this more so a low content book. And as you can see, the price for the book is $5.99. So it's going to be really hard, I think, to make profit from sending ads to low content books. It's not something I've really looked into that much, but you think that the percentage of people that click on your ads that you have to convert into sales to make this worthwhile, it has to be very, very large. So I'm not so sure that sending ads to low content books is going to be the way forward for me. But I'll certainly look at it more in the future. And this last one is it's a second campaign for this first one. So it's just a different campaign targeting different people for this first book here. But again, it doesn't seem to be doing so well. And it looks like people have only bought the ebook version for 99 cents here. But again, we're going to let that run a bit longer, and I'll probably update this in a couple of weeks' time, okay? Okay, so moving on to the main part of the video, and that is to help you find these hot selling niches by using free software and also just using Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk. So what I want to try and do in this video is to make it more of a step-by-step so that it's absolutely clear what you need to be doing when finding these niches. And I find that a lot of people, I've had people messaging me lately saying that they're getting confused with what the criteria for a good niche should be. So I'm going to try and include that into this video as well to make this a lot easier for you, because people do tend to get stuck in this sort of analysis paralysis stage where they're trying to find the perfect niche, they're trying to find the perfect method for finding niches, and they just get confused and they end up publishing absolutely nothing, therefore making no money. So let's get straight into this now, and we'll go with step 1, which is to visit Amazon.com or Amazon.co.uk and start your research. So the way that we start our research is by having a starting point. Okay, so get quite a few questions regarding whether you should be searching the all departments or whether you should be searching the book department. Now for me, I pretty much always use the all departments section here, because when it comes to, and I couldn't be 100% sure of this, but when it comes to searching on the books department here, I find that when I type something in, not only do I get less recommendations in the drop down boxes here. So as you can see, when I type keto cookbook on the books department, I only get 2 recommendations of sort of sub niches here. So let's come over to all departments and try the same thing. So when I do the same thing in all departments, I get a lot more feedback from Amazon searches. Okay, so that's one reason why I use the all departments instead of books. Next reason being, when we search keto cookbook, for example, in all departments, we can see that we get 10,000 search results. Now, if we search keto cookbook in the books department here, we can see that we get 40,000 search results. And while I can't confirm this, while I'm not sure this is true or not, but my own thoughts on this, and since I don't want to check every single listing to confirm this, I feel that on the book department, you're actually searching for more than just the keywords that you type in. So I don't believe that there are 40,000 search results for keto cookbook. I believe that there are 40,000 search results for both keto and cookbook as well. So 40,000 results for keto and 40,000 for cookbook combined. So that's why we're returning 40,000 search results. So what I'm saying here, my thoughts on this are that there are going to be a lot of books that aren't related to keto cookbook. I think there's just going to be a ton of cookbooks included in this search. So that's why I use all departments. And I think most people now do use all departments for their searches as well. Okay, so for niche research, let's go with this starting point. And I think first of all, we need to determine what type of book we're going to be searching for. So are we looking for low content books, or are we going to be looking to produce higher content books, or are we going to be looking to produce these sort of middle ground books? So for me, I'm going to use low content as an example here. So my first thing that I need to do is think of a low content book. Okay, so just off of the top of my head here, I've gone with a fitness journal as my low content book. And now what I'm going to do is search the front page for independently published books. And what we're going to do is we're going to find a book on the first page that has decent reviews and a decent ranking as well. So let's scroll down and have a look. So these ones aren't independently published. We can just hover over them and see that. So if you're interested in using the same Chrome extension that I used to get this quick look at the rankings here, so as you can see, these rankings are on the front page as opposed to having to go into the listing and find them. So the extension here is called DS Amazon Quick View, and it's really good. One of the only extensions that I recommend people actually use. It's going to save you a lot of time. If you don't use it, go ahead and download it. It will save you a ton of time. Okay, so scrolling through here, the first book that I can see is an Unstoppable Food and Fitness Journal. It is independently published. It has a good rating and it has a good sales ranking as well here. So it doesn't matter so much that this book is not 100% related to what we were searching for exactly. All we're trying to do at the moment is just find other low content books on Amazon. So let's go ahead and click on this one. Okay, so here we are on this page for the listing of this book. And what I tend to do from here is to go down to these carousels here below where the customer who viewed this item also viewed and customers who bought this item also bought section. And what we can start doing here is just start writing down other niches from independent publishers that we find on these sections here. So you can use the customers who viewed this item section, or you can use the customers who bought this item also bought section, or you can even use the deals related to this item section as well. So you'll find that these three, they might not appear on every single listing. You might just get one, you might get two, you might get three, and sometimes I found that I don't even get any at all. So don't worry too much what it says at the top of them. Don't worry if it says customers who viewed this or customers who bought this. Just use them as your inspiration. Go through all of them until you find new niches. Okay, so step 2 here is to write down as many niches as you can. So what I like to use is sticky notes here. Okay, get your sticky notes up on the side here and start writing down as many niches as you can. And it should be quite easy to work out which of these are low content books because there'll be journals, diaries, workbooks, trackers, notepads, whatever. You'll be pretty certain what they are as soon as you see the thumbnails for them. Okay, so let's just scroll through the first one here and already we can see, let's go with weight loss journal. Okay, then we have next one here that I can see that is new to me is a meal planner. Okay, so let's just keep scrolling through and writing down as many as we can. Okay, so the customers who viewed this item also viewed section isn't really giving me much variety. It's kind of just giving me similar ones to the listing that I'm on already. So let's go down to the customers who bought this item also bought section and do the same thing here. Okay, so what I found from scrolling through these two here is I've only found 2 extra niches, the weight loss journal and the meal planner. So that's not as many as I would have hoped for. So what we can do is just go back a step and go back to the front page of Amazon for our search, which was fitness journal, and just find another book, another independently published book. Okay, so let's try this book here. And as we can see, it is, if we scroll down, it is independently published and it's doing quite well on Amazon. So let's just scroll through these 2 sections here. Okay, so the next one that I can see is a workout logbook. Okay, so as I scroll through, the next one that I can see here is a anxiety logbook here. So this is for stress and anxiety. And this stress anxiety logbook is one that I've not actually seen before, and it does sound like a really good one to me. Okay, so I've got about 4 niches down already. So what I'm going to do is, since I'm not finding too many on these last 2 listings, is to just do the same process again and go back to the front page of Amazon for our original search and just find another book. Okay, so I've gone on to another book here, and what I'm finding is that we're sort of running into a dead end with our niche research here. So what we can do is to now create another starting point so that we can find even more niches. So the way that we can find another starting point is just to go back to our sticky notes now and pick one of the ones that we've already picked. So we already have 4 here that we can use as our new starting point. So we've already got these that we can research in a minute, so don't worry about them. But what we're going to do is we're going to take one of them and start more niche research with one of these. So for me, I'm going to go with a anxiety logbook. So let's just take that. And I can't tell you for sure whether this keyword phrase anxiety logbook is good or not. It doesn't matter, but I feel like it's definitely going to pick up the type of books that we're interested in, even if I just type in anxiety logbook. So let's just copy this one and put it into Amazon now on the all departments. All right, okay, so what I can see here is I've already got a new niche right in front of me, which is a mood tracking journal. So again, it doesn't matter where we're getting these niches from, whether we go into the listing onto those carousels or not, or whether we see it on the front page for a new search. We found a new niche just from looking around. So let's go ahead and put in our mood tracking journal into our list. And what we can do, since this has quite a few reviews and it has a reasonably low ranking, I'll assume it's been lower than this at some point just because it has 35 reviews on it. So we can use this as our new starting point. Let's use this book. Okay, so as I scroll through the first carousel here, the customers who viewed this also viewed. I can see that we have a gratitude journal here. Now that's something that I've not written down. Let's go ahead and put that down as well. Okay, so what you can see here, I don't want to keep going just for the sake of not making this video too long, but what you can see is the process here of finding these niches very, very quickly, just through looking through Amazon after having this starting point, going through these carousels and just finding what other customers are viewing, what they're buying, and then just writing them down. So this is the first step, the first 2 steps is to have a starting point and then start writing any niche down that you think is a low content niche. Okay, so a big problem that I'm seeing when people send me examples of what type of books they've been uploading onto Amazon, especially when it comes to low content books, one big issue that I'm seeing with people and what they do is they don't niche down at all. So what they're doing is they'll take something like a meal planner. Oh, let's use weight loss journal as an example here. So weight loss journal, they'll take weight loss journal and what they'll do is they'll create a low content book. They get a really nice interior made for them and then they'll start uploading these covers. So your covers for your low content books are extremely important. They need to be unique. You need to be kind of niche down. But what people are doing is they are just putting out the most bland covers that you could possibly imagine. So instead of having anything interesting on the front, all they're doing is they'll put their keywords on the front and they'll just say weight loss journal. So if I come over to my Canva now and just give you an example of what people are doing, they just upload these type of covers where I've just quickly made this, obviously it's terrible, where they just have the keywords on the front of the book where it just says weight loss journal. So that might have worked a couple years ago or a few years ago when people weren't doing low content books, but to have a weight loss journal that just says weight loss journal on it is not good enough anymore. Like that's not really going to make you any sales. And what they're doing is they're pumping out 20, 30, 40 amounts of these type of books and they're just changing the background on them. So they have like these flowers on them and then they change them to, I don't know, say something else like a sunshine or some sort of picture on the background and they'll keep this weight loss journal on the front. So it's just not good enough to have these type of books and they'll pump out loads of these type of books and then they'll wonder why they're not making any sales. So this isn't enough. We need to go deeper into this niche. For people that want weight loss journals, it needs to be more than just showing off a cover that says weight loss journal on the front. Okay, so we have some choices now as to what we can do with our weight loss journal. The first thing that we can do is to start niching down with it. So what we can do is to use something like Helium 10. So Helium 10 is a paid software, but it does have free access for certain things on it. So let's go across and look at that now. Okay, so step 3 is use Helium 10 to confirm your niche and help yourself niche down within that niche. Okay, so for me, if I'm doing something like a weight loss journal, I want to target a specific audience because I think weight loss journal is just too broad now. I think there's too many books like it. So I want to niche down and target someone a bit more specific for it. So what we can do is if you sign up to the free version of Helium 10, is you get a few of these searches every single day. So the software, so the part of Helium 10 that I like using, if you go to the left here, is called Magnet, which is a keyword research option. Okay, so that's going to bring us over to this page here. Now, unfortunately, I only have one search remaining, so I can only really give you one example for today. So the niche is weight loss journal. So let's go ahead and plug that in to Magnet here, and then just click on get keywords, and let's see what it brings back for us. Okay, so when I type in weight loss journal here, what we can see here is the associated keywords with what we've typed in here. So what we can see is a big list here of these associated keywords. And what I want to do here is to find a keyword that people are actually searching for. So even though I found weight loss journal, what I can see here is that the search results here for something like food diary, which is very much related to a weight loss journal, seems to be a much bigger search result than what I've been searching for. So either food diary, or as we can see here, food diary journal. What this Magnet program on Helium 10 is telling me is that there's a good amount of traffic every single month going to the search term food diary, 5,192, and food diary journal, which is 1,540. So right after seeing this, I might be more inclined to make my main keyword food diary instead of weight loss journal. So food diary journal seems like a better option for my book. Okay, so Helium 10 has helped me here decide on what my main keyword, my target keywords are going to be for this niche. It's going to be food diary journal, because I know after finding in Helium 10 that this has traffic going to it. And unfortunately, since we're using the free software, I couldn't actually find the search results for the first phrase that we had in, which I think was weight loss journal. So I'm going to take the safe road here, because I know that this is getting traffic, this food diary journal. I'm going to take this route instead. So that's great that Helium 10 has helped us find a more successful keyword phrase. Okay, so the next step that we're going to take a look at here is, do I need to niche down in order to make sales? So we know what our keyword that we're going to go in after here. Our keyword phrase is food diary journal. So now we need to establish whether it's going to be good enough to just have that on our low content book. Okay, so let's go ahead and type our phrase into Amazon, and that's food diary journal, and that's going to bring us 3,000 search results back. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing in this step is just to see how competitive Amazon is for this specific search term. So I don't want to look too much at this 3,000 results here, because there could be results in here that aren't directly related to food diary. So what I'm going to do in this step is to find out how competitive the first few pages are on Amazon for this phrase. So what I want to see happen here is food diary journal. I want to see it die off quite quickly through the search results. So what I mean by that is, let's see at what point Amazon stops showing exact results for food diary journals. Okay, so let's scroll through the pages here. Okay, so what I've done is I've scrolled through the first 3 pages, and what I'm seeing is that these results, they all seem quite relevant to the keyword phrase that I've typed in. They're all kind of food diary related, food journal related, and the competition seems quite high for something like this book. So my thought here is that I need to niche down. So there are 2 ways that I like to niche down my products. So the first way is to physically target someone else with the keywords. So for example, food diary journal, if I think that it's too competitive on Amazon, what I want to do is to have a more targeted keyword. Okay, so food diary journal. So what we can do from here is to just start typing inside the Amazon search bar food diary journal. Then what is going to happen is going to bring up some related search results that people are searching for. So what we can see here is that people are looking at food diary journal for weight loss, food diary journal symptoms tracker, food diary journals for diabetes, food diary journals for kids, and food diary journal for IBD, whatever that is. So that's one way that we can niche down, is to really specifically target another keyword phrase. Like this is a longer keyword phrase that we could target here to really stand out. So like what I'm saying is, food diary journal on its own might not be enough with a generic cover. So a cover like this is not going to be enough. What we need to do is dig deeper. And the first way, like I've just said, is to have a more targeted keyword phrase. So food diary journal for diabetes, as we can see here, might be a good way to stand out. And as we can see, that automatically drops the search results by thousands here. Okay, so we're going to call this the long tail keyword method. And that's the first way that we can stand out within the niche that we've chosen, which is the food diary journal niche. So the second way is we can try and target someone different with our front cover. Now, this is really important with low content books because there's so many out there that you need to be more specific with your covers than just having something like food diary journal and just changing the background on all your books. So let's go back and just search for food diary journal again. And what I'm going to be doing in this step is I want to find certain themes that I think that I can make myself with a free software like Canva when it comes to producing the covers. So what you want to do here when you're searching through other people's books, so example, this food journal here, don't get too distracted by the fact that people are indeed selling very simple covers that just say food journal on them. So there's going to be other factors that are allowing these people to make sales. Like they could be the first people to have done a food journal, therefore they've gained the traction in the market, or they're sending tons of ads, or they've got a publishing company behind them. Don't get distracted and think that this is going to be easy money because other people have similar covers to yours. Just assume that it's been done and you need to do something different to stand out in this niche. These books are so easy to make that the competition is going to be so high just because they're so easy to make. So let's get an idea of what type of person is buying these food diary journals, okay? Okay, so as I scroll through, what I can see is that some of these diaries and fitness trackers, they have these kind of edgy motivational speeches on the front with some swear words on it. So like this one here, for example, I'm not going to read it out in this video, but you can see here what it says. Okay. And as I scroll down here, I think there's some others. Yeah. So this one here, watch me get rid of this weight with the swear word in there as well. So what we can do, and what my thought here to make our food diary journal stand out, is to include something like this on our front cover. So it still says what it is. It's a keto diet journal. So for us, it would be a food diary journal. But it's what it's doing, we're kind of niching down here with our cover, if that makes sense. And what we're doing is we're targeting someone that finds this type of humor interesting. Okay, people want to buy a book that has this type of content on the front. Okay, so this is a much more specific niche research method where we're just going by the covers. So we don't necessarily have to have a food diet journal for kids with diabetes. We don't have to be that specific with our niche phrase, but what we can do is niche down with our covers, okay, to target different people with our covers. So what have I found so far, just to break this down, is that I found that this food diary journal had good amounts of traffic going to it because we used Helium 10 to find it. I don't think it's good enough. I think it's too competitive to just have a generic cover out there that says food diet journal on the front. And what I've now found is that these type of covers with the swear word, the motivational speech, or something like that on the front is selling well as well. So when you find a book like this, you can always check the rankings of it just to make sure that it is selling. Okay, so what I like to do as I'm scrolling through doing my niche research is to have two sections on my sticky notes here. And the first one is my keyword niche research. So for this one, I found that the food diary journal was quite good. And then I also like to have this sort of cover niche section as well, where I write down noteworthy covers, ones that stand out, like either colors that stand out, phrases that stand out, a certain theme that stand out. So within the food diary journal niche, what I can see for the covers is that these swear words seem to be selling quite well. So swear word covers and also motivational quotes seem to be selling quite well as well. So what we've established, we now combine these two together to make our cover and our listing ultimately. So we're going to have a food diary journal, and it's going to have a motivational quote and possibly a swear word on the front as well. Okay, so I'm not going to go through the whole cover making process. I have got videos on that which you can find on my channel quite quickly, but what it's going to bring us to do is to now create these food diary journals with a very particular audience in mind. Okay, so we have our keyword done, which is food diary journal, and now we're going to target our audience. Now we can create our cover around that target audience. Okay, so the target audience being people that like swear words and motivational quotes. So we can combine those two together and we can make a front cover that has a motivational quote with a swear word in it as well. So we've checked on Amazon and we found that this type of book is selling. We found that these type of covers are selling as well. Okay, and it's one thing to be noted that with, I think, any cover that has a swear word on it or any title that has a swear word on it, and you can't run ads to these type of books. Okay, so always bear that in mind when it comes to creating anything that has profanity on the front cover. Okay, so let's say that we found this niche and we found this type of cover with a motivational quote with a swear word on it. What do? Do we copy what this person is doing, or do we do something different? And I think you know the answer to that, and that is that we do something different. We take inspiration from this person here or similar books, and we create our own book cover around it. Okay, so they've gone with "Watch me get rid of this effing weight," so we could do something very similar. Okay, so I've obviously just done this very quickly. This cover, you would not upload this to your account in a million years, I hope, but I've just done it very quickly just for the sake of putting the quote on the front. So I'll come up with my own. It sucks, I know, but it's time to melt this mother effing fat, and it's a food diary journal. Okay, so with this, I'd obviously want to make it look a million times better than what you see on screen. But you can also, you can put a graphic in here, you can change the background, put some flowers in or something. If you think it's going to be women that you're going to be targeting more so than men, you could have flowers, or you could go for a pink theme, anything like that. You should let your niche research tell you who you're targeting, and then create your book around your target audience. Okay, so before we upload our book onto Amazon, we want to confirm that this is a good selling niche that we found here. Okay, so we found this niche, we found a way to target it. And what we want to do now is just kind of confirm that this is a good niche to pursue. And if it's a low content book, by pursue, I think you should be creating at least 10 different covers for these type of books. So if you have a food diary journal made, then I think you want to look at making 10 different types of books for this at the very least. Okay, so for example, if we thought that food diary journals with these sort of swear word motivating phrases on the front were good, we could have 10 different versions of these books made. Okay, so each book would be different. It wouldn't have the same phrase on the front. It would have a different type of motivational speech, motivational quote on the front. It'd have a different background as well. So we're not just adjusting one thing on the book, we're changing the whole cover completely, but still, you know, sticking within that same sort of framework of having the quote and the swear word on the front. Okay, so what we can do is to head over to Helium 10 again, and we can confirm that traffic is going to this keyword phrase, food diary journal. So what I've done is I've just gone to the home section here, and again, I'm using the free version of Helium 10 where they limit you to 3 searches a day, which is enough for now. And I've just typed in food diary journal in the US market, and we can see that it brings back 1,681 search results per month. So for me, that's a good enough number to suggest that there is money and traffic going to this niche. Okay, and while you're on this, you can actually get some good ideas for sort of niching down. So again, we can use Helium 10 to niche down our food diary journals if we feel like we need to do that. So for example, we can see here, if we felt like we couldn't target food diary journal in a different way, like if we couldn't find a unique spin. So the unique spin on our food diary journals was this motivational swear word quote on the front. So if we felt like we couldn't do that, we could use Helium 10 and find these sort of sub niches, I guess you could call them, on here as well. So for example, it brings back diary journal and food, so diet journal and food diary 2021, which brings back 512 results. Now, if you can't have a unique cover made for food diary journal, which has 1,681 search results, you might be better having a cover made for diet journal and food diary 2021, which brings back 512 results. So even though there's less search results, you might have more sales from being more specific within this niche. Okay, but for me, if I was making this book, I like food diary journal, and I think what I would do is to do what I've done in this example and just make a unique spin on the cover. Okay, and the thing is, if you're making multiple books of this type, you can target different keyword phrases as well. So your first batch of books, they might just be food diary journals with these motivational swear word covers, and then you could do another batch which is targeted toward the keyword phrase diet journal and food diary 2021. So that's one way you can sort of target more people in the same niche. Okay, without necessarily having to do more work. And what you can do to test it even further is to combine the two things that we've done already. So we have this swear word motivational speech for our food diary journal. So we can make a swear word motivational quote, but we could also target it toward 2021 as well. Okay. So that way we're sort of mixing the niches, crossing the sub niches, we're doing all these good things, and we're creating a very unique targeted book that has traffic going to it. Okay, so the first step here of confirming that the niche is good to go with, we have checked on Helium 10 that it has traffic going to it. So I can't give you a exact number of what you want to look for, but I think anything over 1,000 is good. And if you're really targeted, I think anything over 500 is going to be good as well. So just look for maybe over 500. If you don't want to stick to too strict of a criteria for your books, then just look for anything on Helium 10 that has over 500 search results per month. Okay. And what we can find here actually is that on Helium 10, it does say the number of competing products as well. So food diet for Diet Journal and Food Diary 2021, we have 500 search results, and we'll only be competing against apparently 275 similar products. Now, how similar they are to this exact phrase, I'm not sure, but that number is quite low, and that would suggest that this is actually a good phrase to go after. Okay. So after all of our research, what we could come down to finding is that maybe we want to make a Diet Journal and Food Diary 2021 logbook. But for now, let's just stick with Food Diary Journal to finish off this part of the research where we're confirming whether this is good to go or not. So a lot of people, they recommend that you have like quite a strict criteria when it comes to confirming whether your niche is good to go with or not. And this unfortunately can lead to analysis paralysis, where we have too strict of a criteria and we can never actually find the perfect niche because we're so hell-bent on following this criteria that we end up finding absolutely nothing, and we miss out on a ton of good niches just because our criteria is too strict. So what I'm going to do for this part here is just say to you, look on the front page of Amazon for your niche that you're going for. So mine is the Food Diary Journal. Look on the front page and just see if there are at least 2 or 3 books that are selling well. And that's all you need to go for with your criteria for low content books. Just see that other books are selling well, other independently published books. So let's go find some independently published food journals on the front page here. So these ones I know aren't independently published because they have the binders on them. Okay, so this one's independently published and it's ranked 2000, which is incredibly good. Okay, so this one's independently published here and it has a ranking of 44,000, which is extremely good as well. So for low content books, I'd look for anything under 500,000, even anything under 1 million. But if you want something that sells good, I would look sort of around the 500,000 mark. So look on the front page for books within your niche that are ranked under 500,000. Don't complicate this any further than that. So the reason why we're not going to complicate this any further and have a more strict criteria is because what we're doing with our Food Diary Journal is making it unique as it is. So we're going to stand out on the basis that we've niched down and we're targeting other people. So for this one here, they just have a Food Diary logbook with a very basic cover. Now, can we make that ourselves and have similar results? I don't think so. If there was enough room in the market for us to just produce a book that said something similar, Food Diary and Symptom Log, would I say go ahead and do that? Like if this was 3 years ago, would I say go ahead and just make a book with a cover that said that? Yes, I think you probably could do that, but there's too much competition and we need to do what I've shown you in this video, is to niche down and have a unique spin on all of our books. And that's why we don't need to be so strict with our criteria, is because we're already targeting people that aren't this generic. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, when it comes to higher content books, and this is something I think you need to treat with a bit more accuracy than low content books, that's something I'm going to get into in another video. But for the most part, this one is strictly for those looking at low content books, because I don't think we need to be that strict with our niche research in terms of what we see on the front page here, in terms of confirming whether our niche is good to go, because these books are so easy to make. We can make them with such a little budget and we can produce so many of them that we don't need to waste all this time trying to find the perfect niche with them. But what we do need to spend time on is finding our spin, our unique spin within these niches. Okay, so if I was doing Food Diary Journal for real and uploading it onto my account, I'd have a much better cover than what I'm making here, and I would outsource my work, my interior, to somewhere like Upwork.com, and I'd say to the person on Upwork.com, look, I want 10 to 15 slightly different versions of this interior. So for me, I want to have different interiors. I don't want to just keep creating the same interior for different covers and just shoving them out on Amazon hoping that they sell. I want slightly unique interior, and if you find the right outsourcer on Upwork.com, then this person will be able to do that for you, probably at no extra cost. I can't speak on behalf of what your price would be to find someone like this, but it should be very, very cheap if you look around. So 10 different covers, have them changed slightly so we don't have to worry about duplicate content issues, and have 10 different covers made to suit that as well. So for example, with this one here, this cover here, if I had an interior made for this one, I could have, possibly on each page, I could have a different motivational quote, for example. And then when I come to making another cover, which is still within what we found, so we were looking at those swear word motivational covers. So let's just quickly change this to another one. Okay, again, just come up with this off the top of my head to have the swear word sort of censored, and then the word fat sort of is censored as well. That's just a thought I've had off the top of my head for a cover. But if you had this as your next cover, then your next interior, you could have some different quotes inside, for example. And again, you could be having your outsourcer create these, just changing ever so slightly the interior, just so that you have a unique one for every single book, okay? So the point here is that you end up creating unique products that look good on Amazon, and they're not just copying other people, you're taking inspiration and you're having your own unique product out there. Okay, so the takeaway from this video is to not be this type of person that just uploads slightly different covers, generic looking covers, in the hope that you're going to just eventually make sales if you put enough of these covers up, okay? So this can work if you have really, really nice covers. Like these are not too bad actually, but I just want to use them as an example. Don't be this person. It's probably not going to work for you. If it does, it won't work for that much longer because so many people are doing this. So wouldn't you rather have that unique spin, that real deep niche of customer that is buying your book to stand out? Would you rather do that, or would you rather just keep pumping out book after book after book and not seeing sales? And the reason why I think this is so good to do on your low content books, because I think this mentality will eventually transfer over to any sort of medium and higher content books that you do in the future as well, where you're putting more thought and more time into every book that you upload. And I see it from people that send examples to me. They just do this. They just shove out these books with they have like a food diary, and then they just shove the word food diary on the front. They have a slightly quirky looking background, and they think that's enough. Everyone's doing it. Everyone is doing that. You're not going to stand out by doing this. And I think the way that I approach this, by being more specific, more niche orientated, being more unique, is the way forward for low content books. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope this has given you some ideas on how you can present your books on Amazon's marketplace in a slightly different way to make more sales. If you think this has helped, then feel free to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. There'll be plenty more on the way very soon.